Hey everyone, welcome back to Ask Amy. Today I have a question from James. James says, in this time of lockdown and isolation, I'm seeing just how much I relied on distraction to, well, distract me from myself. I've been able to jump on and go somewhere, or even jump up and go somewhere, I think he means, or even run out to go eat something or buy something or do something forever. And I just don't have those options right now. It feels so uncomfortable to be in my own skin. How can I find some comfort when my old ways aren't possible anymore? And the old ways, again, being exactly what James said, distracting, jumping up, doing something, adding something, running away from something. Um, it wouldn't do you any good, James. It wouldn't be doing you any kind of service to suggest more ways for you to stay busy and distract yourself right now. But I think for all of us, like what this is really giving us an opportunity to do is to not do those things. Maybe for the first time or in a bigger, more real way than ever before. Because in many ways, it gets to be easier now because you kind of don't have a choice. Like you said, it's so easy to feel all that pent up energy, to feel something that your mind says is anxiety or discomfort or whatever, however your mind labels it. And like you said, like you've done for so long, like many people are so used to doing, just grab something to stop it, grab something to stop it. But what that does, and I think we all know that it does this. It doesn't mean we stop doing it, but we know this is what's going on. I mean, what that does is it's like this ball, this beach ball that you're holding underwater, and forever you're just holding it underwater because you're scared to death if you let go, it's going to bounce up. And you're right, it is going to bounce up if you let go. But once you let go and let it bounce up, it's up. You're no longer holding it underwater. We get to this place where it feels like what hurts us is what's going to happen when the ball comes up. And that's not at all what's hurting us. What's hurting us is all of this effort and energy we're spending running around doing things, or in our metaphor, trying to keep that ball from coming up. Really hear that. We're not afraid of what we think we're afraid of. You think you're afraid of this feeling. You think you're going to crawl out of your skin. You can't sit still and you can't go within and you can't just be quiet and you can't have your life be limited on the outside. That's what hurts you, is the fear that you can't handle that. Not that you can't handle it, you can handle it. In fact, it can be amazing. It can be the absolute best, most freeing thing that ever happened to you. It is for most people. Anyone who sits through that and really sees something about all this angst and anxious energy and all how our mind goes to all the what ifs and but and you don't understand and this is what's happening. Anyone who comes to really see something about that is no longer afraid of what's on the other side of it. But many of us are sitting around still afraid, and we don't let ourselves actually see it because we think it's reality that we're afraid of. We think it's that there's a problem there, or that we really can't feel a feeling, or that that we are just going to go crazy if we have to just sit here and not run around and distract ourselves and go out in the world and add more to our lives. And it's really not that. What's hurting us, what's hurting all the time, what creates all of our anxiety is the fear of something out there. The fear of something that when we really look at it, when we really let ourselves just live into it and feel it, we see, wow, that was nothing to be afraid of. And in fact, that's the best thing that ever happened to me, because once I learned to be with that feeling and just let that beach ball come up and hit me in the face, it was not at all what my mind was telling me it would be like. And in fact, that's where all the freedom is. So I hear you, James. Many people hear you, right? It is such a time for this, especially when you're caught up in these habits and these urges to just leave the moment and leave your experience, but remember what you're wanting to leave. It's not the moment. It's not your experience. It's not you. What you're wanting to leave is your mind calling all this energy, this painful stuff. It's it's a misunderstanding. It's us just being here with all kinds of psychology going on and being afraid of that psychology. And the more we get to just start to get curious about that psychology, sit with it, see, wow, if the worst that can happen to me is a feeling, let's try that. Let's feel stuff. Let's sit here for a minute and see what it's like to not distract and not be able to run around. Let's get curious and see what I might discover if I, instead of complaining about not having outside freedom, if I look to inside freedom. Because we sell ourselves short every single time when we have all these freedoms on the outside world that just distract us from the real freedom. So you're not getting to do that anymore. And I think that's amazing. And I think it might be hard. It might feel really scary. It really will. It may feel scary. It may be really hard in the beginning. But oh my gosh, like we're just getting such an opportunity, all of us in our own way, to do that. To say out there freedom is not where it's really at. That's not what we really want or need anyway. What we all want, what drives every single thing we ever do our entire lives, is coming back to this kind of inside freedom. And that hasn't been taken away. It really hasn't. And in fact, it's been given to us in a much bigger way. Now you're going to have some stuff to look in the eye in order to feel that. Your mind racing about all these what ifs and all these scenarios of all these things that are creating all these problems for you. But you get to see that for what it is too, and get curious about the fact that, wow, sometimes my mind's over here arguing for how horrible it is. Other times my mind forgets. It goes somewhere else. Other times my mind goes to, hey, we've been through this before. We've been through all kinds of things like this before. Other times my mind goes to, not like this, like your mind's just traveling all over and you're just feeling wherever it goes. But being able to be in this and feel that and just watch the whole thing unfold is an opportunity that we've always had, but it hasn't been this in our faces, and it hasn't been this easy for us. And in some ways, we haven't been forced to feel it the way we are being right now. We've been able to kind of look in this direction as like an intellectual curiosity kind of thing, and then just go back to distracting in our everyday lives. And you can't do that. You can't do that in the same way right now. Let this be a gift in some ways. Oh my gosh. I mean, this is really a chance to just look in there and see what it is that we've been so afraid of feeling all this time. And I think we're so blessed in that way. And I think anyone who really looks in this direction, and I suspect it's going to be a lot of people around the world, a lot of people, you're not going to dislike what you find. You're really not. I think this is such an opportunity, and it doesn't mean we choose it, and it doesn't mean you have to love everything about it, and that doesn't mean that it doesn't have a lot of downsides. Clearly it does, but who cares? Like, your mind can play that game, but you don't get a choice. Like, you didn't pick this. Nobody picked it. So you're in it. So why not go within and get really curious about where freedom really comes from? Because it doesn't come from being able to walk through a shopping mall. All my questions recently are around variations on this, and I love it. So if you have anything you want to hear about around anything, um, anything that feels like a particularly scary aspect of what we're going through, or of any part of life, please send them to me, um, at AskAmy at thelittleschoolofbigchange.com, and I'll be here every Monday, maybe more often if I get more questions, speaking to them. So thanks for sending your questions. Thanks everyone for listening. Stay safe and healthy, and stay away from people, please. And I'll see you back here next Monday. Bye, everyone.